In this video, I'm going to be helping you guys learn how to defeat the ghoulish boss. There's a lot to it and there's a lot to go over. I'm going to be going over everything you should do and everything you should not do. And before we start, please make sure to like and subscribe so we can hit 10,000 subscribers, and let's get right into it. Alright boys, welcome to the very first section of the video, and the main thing we're going to be covering here is just the best builds to use with every single race. This isn't going to be too long, and to completely honest with you guys, every single best build is going to be a keto build. The main primary purpose of the video or the section is to just showcase the best moves to use with every single build. As for the weapon, I don't directly mention any because, to be completely honest with you guys, you should not be using any weapons or even trying to get near the boss. Everything that you use needs to be long ranged, because the second you get close to the boss, you're going to end up getting cooked. It may be from your teammates' moves, it may be from the boss. Something's going to end up killing you, I'm not going to lie. So it's just best to take moves that you can actually shoot from far away. And by the way, before we start, make sure to comment below if you guys have any questions. And without further ado, let's get right into the builds. Alright, here's the first race we're going to be going over. Is Quincy. I don't want to reset any of my actual builds, so I'm just going to be on this to show you what moves you guys should be looking for. So first off, make sure you pick up Wave Shot. This actually has the capacity to do maximum damage. Each player has a maximum capacity that they can do to the boss per phase. This, if you hit the entire thing, reaches that capacity, so this is really nice. You want to pick up Focal Point and Slide. Slide lets you refill your arrows. Focal Point just does decent damage and it auto tracks. Aside from that, you want to get Still Silver. This is pretty easy to aim as well. And Shadows. So Shadows, this doesn't really do damage, as you guys know. However, sometimes the boss bugs out and you can't see his HP bar. So with Shadows, you're still going to be able to find out his HP by popping it. It'll tell you his exact percentage. So this is kind of useful for that. And aside from that, if you have a skill box, which I know they're pretty easy to get now, so you should, I would recommend picking up Reishi Bomb. It's not located here, but if you get Reishi Bomb, I would pick that up as well. And other than that, you don't really need that much moves for Quincy Keto. Obviously, fill out your hotbar, just get whatever you like, but those are the essential moves that I would personally recommend everybody pick up for this boss raid. Alright, now we're on to Arrancar, and the main abilities I would recommend for this is Blade Sorrow. This does percent damage, as you guys know, for the boss raids. This is going to be really nice, and it's really easy to hit. You pretty much any Zero path will work. I would not recommend Zero Grab. This is probably the worst one. Try Zero is decent, Zero Corny is pretty mid, and Bingo Zero is going to be a bit difficult to hit. Aside from that, you want to obviously pick up Ball of Barrage. This is a fuck ton of damage. This is going to be super nice to use. If you want, you can maybe pick up Ball of Gum to save friends. But honestly, if you guys are confident, you won't really need this, but you know, for convenience, I would maybe grab this. Make sure to get Zero Oscuras. Obviously, this is just a giant Zero. It does a lot of damage as well. Or nothing too crazy, but like, aside from that, I'm not gonna lie, you don't really have too much options. There's also Fireflies. That doesn't do crazy amounts of damage. It's decent. And you could try Zero Bite. And the last move, I should have mentioned this, is Zero Scourge. Not to use on the actual boss. However, this gives you iframes while you're in the animation. So if you're in a state where the boss is about to hit you with a move, you obviously don't want to die. You can pop this, give yourself some free iframes, and you should be straight. Other than that, to be completely honest, you don't really have too much options with this race. I would just run those moves, try your best. You're obviously probably going to need to get carried by friends, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's not going to be possible to do this easily with the Arrancar race. Alright, now we're on to the final race, which is Soul Reaper. So first off, let's obviously get into the good moves. I'm going to be honest, Soul Reaper is probably one of the worst races in general, not even just for this. But I would get Heavenly Cannon. So Katsu, be careful with this. You could end up hitting your teammates because the range for that is pretty big. Danku, obviously just to protect yourself. This is definitely really nice. Zangirin's a decent range attack. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. The main moves you really want to use are going to be Heian, Heavenly Cannon, and Sokatsu. I'm not gonna lie. Aside from that, I can't think of anything else that's really that crazy on Soul Reaper. For Soul Reaper, another thing that I would personally recommend, maybe for Soul Reaper, I'm also going to be mentioning one more thing, and that's actually essences. I didn't mention this for the other races because Ball of Fireworks and Shattered Comet have the potential to hit your teammates, so you don't really want to be using those. But for Soul Reapers, you actually have options when it comes to essences, and those options are actually pretty decent. So first off, we have the Raging Ryatsu. This will lower your mode cooldown by a lot. If you have like an alt account or something, you could keep the boss like over there, and then you yourself can just run here. You can farm your alt, get your mode bar really up. It comes back super easily. Pop mode, fight the boss, wait for the cooldown, and rinse and repeat that process. If I had to guess, I obviously haven't done this myself, you could realistically probably pick up at least like 2 to 3 pops per boss fight with this method. Obviously it's a bit complicated, and once you get good at a boss fight, I honestly don't think you're gonna need this. But aside from that, there's also Tapatsu essence that you probably shouldn't hit your teammates with, and I think other people can attack the core while your Tapatsu essence is going off. So honestly, I think that is a pretty good pick for this as well. I would probably go with Tapatsu if you can get it, and everything else honestly doesn't really matter. You don't really got that much stuff, I ain't gonna lie. Alright, I'm gonna keep this section brief. The way you actually fight the boss and trigger the boss fight is by getting a ghoulish orb. I don't remember what it's specifically called, but it's called an orb something. You get this by killing the random ghost NPCs that spawn around the map. Then you go into this area that I am at currently. You use the orb, it will trigger the boss fight, and that is how the boss fight actually starts. The way you damage the boss is by either pairing these orbs and pairing the boss's attacks, or damaging the boss itself. I believe it is actually damaging the boss and pairing. I've been told pairing by a Solian and one of my friends, and I did it, and we just damaged the boss, and it obviously changed states. So I believe both work, probably. Secondly, each player, I believe, has a limit to the amount of damage they can do per phase. It might be the entire server has a similar cap. So for example, if the boss has 5 bars, you're not able to beat him in any less than 5 phases. Keep that in mind when you're fighting this. And aside from that, there isn't much else to it. So let me move on to the actual tips and tricks. I just wanted to get this kind of out of the way because I know some people may be confused and coming into this completely fresh, not knowing anything about this event. Alright, in this section, I'm kind of just going to be going over common mistakes that everybody made and what mistakes I actually made during this run, which was my first run. And the very first mistake, and this is one I'm pretty sure every single player has currently made aside from like testers, and that is doing this in a public server or a non-flooded server. I'm not going to lie to you guys, in a public server, people are going to show up, random players are going to show up, and they're going to feed the boss. And by feed the boss, I mean every single time a player the boss has even damaged slightly dies, he gains back a half a bar of HP. I don't think I need to explain why that's really annoying. Like, it literally makes it so you can't kill the boss because people server hop boss servers to try and actually farm him, right? So you're constantly going to be getting new people joining, and they're just going to constantly be dying to the boss. Sometimes you're going to be dealing with people ganking. Like in our run, we had a light res show up, we had a zombie show up, we had a ranked player show up and try and farm people for title grips that were getting low to the boss. Like, it's actually insane how chaotic this is. So if you guys have an orb, which are super rare, my very first tip, wait till they add instant skews, because if you do it right now, there's a high chance you'll end up just wasting your orb, and it's really difficult to get another one. So honestly, it's just better to save it. But now I want to actually get into the tips for the actual boss fight. Very first, most important tip in my opinion, do not get close to the boss whatsoever. I think I mentioned this at the start, but when you're gonna attack him from range moves. In this clip, as you guys can see, I literally just got hit with a move. Imagine that, except like your entire team is firing them. I lost a bar there. One time I lost my entire HP. You guys might even see that in this clip. Like, you literally lose 4 bars and you'll die instantly if your teammates are attacking it while you're trying to get close and actually damage your boss. So always use range moves, always use keto. I would not even suggest trying this with kendo speed, and especially not Hakata. One thing my friend Carl suggested me to do is only bring a maximum of like 8 people. At a certain point, once you get too much people, some people will just start health packing and the boss starts healing half an HP per grip. It just gets really messy and complicated, and I just wouldn't recommend doing it. A great example of that is this clip. I'm pretty sure the entire server was there, and as you guys can see, every single time I tried to approach the boss, I lost half my HP. And this is primarily because 1, I'm using a close range build, which is speed, and 2, the entire server is attacking the boss. And right here, as you guys can see, this random just hit me. I think it might have been by accident or whatever, but this also made me stay in combat for longer, lowered my DPS, and just overall inconvenienced me pretty greatly. So I would just recommend running it with a trusted group of like 6 to 8 people. Make sure to bring 2 medics, because for us, we brought only 1 medic. The second he died, the rest of us started dying instantly. So make sure to bring 2 medics, 6 DPS, make sure all of them are keto, and you should be completely fine for this boss fight. Alright boys, when it comes to fighting the boss, there isn't too much else to it. Dodging and avoiding his abilities isn't too difficult. For the most part, if you're doing it with people, you don't even need to worry about any of that. I'm gonna be completely honest. Literally just dash away from him, spam your moves, and you should be completely fine. Alright, before we wrap this video up, the last thing I really want to talk about are the boss drops. So for defeating this boss, you have a very slight chance to receive some actual armor. The armor, honestly, I'm pretty sure is the best in the game currently. However, the biggest issue with it is the fact that consistently farming this boss is very difficult. This is literally just because getting the actual core is very tedious and annoying, and then getting a consistent server where you're able to kill this boss is also very difficult. So honestly, I just wait till they nerf all of this stuff. Like in the future, it's definitely going to be a lot easier. For now, I don't want to get too off topic. Let's just go over all the equipment and the stats. So very first thing we have here is, starting this off with the ring, we have 5 Ryatsu regeneration, 15 HP, 5 posture, 2 defense, and 12 Ryatsu. This is easily the best Halo in the entire game. Now we got the crown. This is easily the best head accessory in the entire game. 12 HP, 5 defense, which is insane, and you get 20 Ryatsu. This definitely needs some nerfs. And finally, we have the armor piece. This definitely needs some nerfs. 3.5 defense, 20 HP, 10 posture, and 20 Ryatsu, and 9 meter drain, which is not that crazy, but like, I'm not gonna lie, this armor is drippy and busted. I think before the Halloween event ends, or probably after it ends, this is definitely gonna get touched, because obviously this is limited time equipment. They don't want the best equipment in the game to be limited time, right? So, you know, get this while you can, abuse it while you can, and yeah, that's it. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye, and let me know if this video helped you out. Oh yo, by the way, if you have your own tips for this event, comment them below and I'll pin the best comment.